What's going on, guys? My name is Dakota, and this is a Place for Humans podcast. And today we have an episode where it's just me ranting about life like always. We introduce a new segment to the podcast called Stash Ya Past, where people call in and they leave regretful memories for us to generalize and speak openly about in public. So that's exciting. If you'd like to be a part of Stash Ya Past and you got some crazy memory you want to share, send an email to aplaceforhumans@gmail.com. And before we get into the podcast, here is a little message from our sponsors. You got to support the sponsors because they support us and they keep this whole thing afloat. So shout out to Skillshare. Do you like skills? Let's try that again. Skillshare. Hello, this episode of the podcast is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare it's an online community full of people that want to learn stuff. And think about it. Think about life for a second. How much do you learn every day? Probably not that much. You just kind of go through life doing the same kind of things. You're just on this conveyor belt of normalcy. Well, you can change that using Skillshare. And you can change your life with skills. Think about a video game. You invest all this time into learning a skill, your character gets better. You can do that in real life. Video games actually simulate real life. I don't know if you knew that, but you can pull that out and you can have real skills. And for a limited time only, Skillshare is offering you a free premium Skillshare membership. Skillshare is really cool. I actually use Skillshare. I'm not just saying that. I use Skillshare. It's got all kinds of things on there, like everything you can think of. You can learn witchcraft on Skillshare and tarot reading and astrology. Or you can learn how to be productive or, how to start a podcast. Anything you can think of is pretty much found on Skillshare. So please click the description that you find. Click the link in the description. Maybe they got English skills on there too. You can learn English on there. That's the next one. That's my next class I'm taking. It's after the podcast. So please sign up using Skillshare. I love you. Skillshare loves you. The earth loves you. Get yourself a skill. Skillshare.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it, baby? Another day in the universe. Another day on planet Earth. All the stories that are happening right now. Everyone's just living life. Being busy. Well, here's a little break from all that. This is a Place for Humans podcast. And I'm the host of a Place for Humans podcast. And my name is Dakota. And this is live from Detroit. That's in Michigan. And, yep. Oh, I meant to fade that out a little bit better, but what's been up? Well, I had 2 podcasts filmed and ready, and I deleted them on accident. But that's okay. We have a mouth. We have a mouth, so I can make more. I can use my telepathy to beam it into your consciousness. You know what? One of my favorite things that Terrence McKenna said was, telepathy is real. We just use, but the carrier wave is small mouth noises. If your internal dictionary matches my internal dictionary, then basically I can make noises that carry through the air, enter your ears, constructs an image into your brain, and you can say that you see what I mean. Yeah, I get you. I see what you mean. And that's telepathy. That's telepathy, right? The universe is tricky. It's like we will be able to do. You want to fly? You can fly. You just got to use an airplane, or you got to use one of these other types of, like those little squirrel suits or something. What else? Yeah, I don't know. You can. We can read each other's minds, not in like a supernatural magic kind of way. And we might be able to do that one day through technology, but we can read each other's minds using noises through our mouths, through the holes in our heads. And that's beautiful to think about. Terrence McKenna actually said it way more cool. Oh, jeez, I can't talk today. Terrence McKenna said it a lot cooler than I could say. Let me see. Let's Google it. Terrence McKenna, telepathy. Body DMT. Okay, let's play this a little bit.
Exterior changes on the surface of the octopus.
Okay, I don't think that's the right one.
The mind is somehow a co-creator in the process of reality through acts of language. And language is very, very mysterious. I mean, it is true magic. People run all over the place looking for paranormal abilities. But notice that when I speak, if your internal dictionary matches my internal dictionary, that my thoughts cross through the air as an acoustical pressure wave and are reconstructed inside your cerebral cortex as your thought, your understanding of my words. Telepathy exists. It's just that the carrier wave is small mouth noises. All so-called primitive people know that the world is made of language, that you sing it into existence, that what you...
Something I find interesting about this idea that primitive people knew that the world was made of language. And when you trace back some of these I'm hesitant to call them primitive, but like what a guy on the street would call a primitive idea or a primitive group of people, you trace back these spiritual practices from there, and you see in the beginning was the word. Or you see things like in the Hindu tradition, they say Om, this vibration created everything. Everything is within the spectrum of the vibration Om. The whole universe is this resonance. The Big Bang exploded, and Om is the noise that it vibrated out. And the vibrations of this Om has created the material world. It's just like hitting a singing bowl. You hit a singing bowl, or one of these things. And even though that's one thing, it's a spectrum of vibrations all within one key. And the universe is like that. In the beginning was the Word. And we create the world through the language that we use to describe it. Alan Watts used to say that we confuse the world with the way that we describe it. We call this table a table, right? But it's not a table. It's on an essence level, the wood that makes up this table is the same wood that made up the tree. It's the same wood that would make up any shape that you make it. The essence is the same, but language creates this linguistic hallucination of the table. And we create the world through this. Everything we see in life is got this sort of compartmentalization of the objects that are in our cultural arsenal or our human arsenal. But even more on like a fundamental level, outside of the tree table metaphor, you can think of like soil and a tree. we break these things down into a category. You know, you say, okay, we see the areas, we see separations, right? That's what human beings are good at. We're good at seeing separations. We're not so good at seeing the unity pattern of things. You know, we're not too good at seeing where things connect, but we're good at seeing patterns. So we can see when two patterns split off. So for example, a tree in the soil. On a fundamental level, these things imply each other. You can't have a tree or tree-like plants or any kind of plants without soil. And vice versa. You can't have fertile soil without there being some kind of life that grows from it. So are these things separate, or is it the linguistic hallucination of language that says, now that's a tree and that's soil? That's a thought. We're lost in a thought when we think that. We're lost in a thought when we think that. When you say that's a tree, that's a soil, that's a thought that you are, there's a detachment there. Which, of course, it makes sense that we say these kind of things, right? It makes sense that you say that's a tree, that's a soil. How could you go through life? You know, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a bear and a person if you didn't have that filtration system already built into you. But I think it's important, especially now, and these are what spiritual traditions are trying to say. It's they're saying don't get lost in that perception of the world, because it's just a survival mechanism. It's a perception that the body created so that it can navigate this realm that it woke up in. But on a fundamental level, this is all one thing that is happening. The air and your lungs are not different. And this actually brings me to another thing Alan Watts said. Let me see if I can find it. He said something like, the blood in your veins and the sun that's rising, it's all one process. And he's talking about, like, if you decide to open your hand, you feel like you have the free will to open your hand. I can open and close my hand. And you feel you have the choice to do that. But how do you choose? How do you make the choice to make the choice? And if you don't know, then are you actually...
You do not know where your decisions come from.
Yeah, right here. Listen to this. This is great. Oh, shit. This has got some kind of music in it. We won't be able to play it. I'm going to have to find a different one that don't have some music in it. Oh, this one's got the same thing. There's people are copying these videos. Weepy, the other door's open. Go use the other door. Man, cats are so stupid. Do you even have a brain, Weepy? Do you have a brain? The other door is open, Weepy. I can't believe you just live in my house. You're an animal. What are you doing here? No, I'm just kidding. I love Weepy. And she's smart. It's just comedy. Okay, let's see if this is the right one. I'm going to have to open this door for Weepy.
You do not know where your decisions come from. They pop up like hiccups. And when you make a decision, people have a great deal of anxiety about making decisions. We're always worrying. Did I think this over long enough? Did I take enough data into consideration? And if you think it through, you find you never could take enough data into consideration. The data for a decision in any given situation is infinite.
And so we are always in a dither of doubt as to whether we're behaving the right way, doing the right thing, and so on and so forth.
Let's fast forward a little bit. Sorry if anyone's interested. I want to find that one part so we don't get too caught off.
And so in the same way, a lot of people constantly in the life situation, they dither, because that dithering is anxiety. You realize first that that's what you've always... Nothing as it were banging you, it's happening. But in the ordinary way, you've been conditioned to resist it, to fight.
do the right thing.
God damn
Only,
it. Okay. Sorry, guys. God, it's the same one. It's the same one with that same song. It's the only one I can find. And people just keep copying it and re-uploading it. Oh my God, again. Why? Why? Peace. Infinite waters diving deep once again. And today we'll be looking for a video that will open your third eye. But first, we have to talk about the dangers of opening your third eye by listening to Alan Watts' videos. Deep divers. I can't find it. Maybe I can Google it and just read it. Alan Watts. You decide to open your hand, but how do you decide to... I'm the worst Googler. Jesus. Oh, it came up, though. Okay. Okay, this is actually voluntary. Okay, I'm going to see if I can... Okay, this video right here. Perfect. This is the video I was looking for. Please don't have the music. Wait, let's see. It's got music, but is it copyrighted free music? I don't see anything that says it's not. All right, let's go for it.
You see, the problem is this. We identify in our experience a differentiation between what we do and what happens to us. We have a certain number of actions that we define as voluntary. We feel in control of those. And then over against that, there is all those things that are involuntary. But the dividing line between these two is very arbitrary.
Very
Because, for example,
arbitrary.
when you move your hand, you feel that you decide whether to open it or to close it. But then ask yourself, how do you decide? When you decide to open your hand, do you first decide to decide? You don't, do you? You just decide, and how do you do that? And if you don't know how you do it, is it voluntary or involuntary? Let's consider breathing. You can feel that you breathe deliberately. You can control your breath. But when you don't think about it, it goes on. Is it voluntary or involuntary? And so we come to have a very arbitrary definition of self. That much of my activity which I feel I do. And that then doesn't include breathing most of the time. It doesn't include the heartbeats. It doesn't include the activity of the glands. It doesn't include digestion. It doesn't include how you shape your bones, circulate your blood. Do you or do you not do these things? Now, if you get with yourself and you find out that you are all of yourself, a very strange thing happens. You find that your body knows that you are one with the universe. In other words, that the so-called involuntary circulation of your blood is one continuous process with the stars shining. If you find out that it's you who circulates your blood, you will at the same moment find out that you are shining the sun. Because your physical organism is one continuous process with everything else that's going on. Just as the waves are continuous with the ocean, your body is continuous with the total energy system of the cosmos. And it's all you. Only you're playing the game that you're only this bit of it. But as I tried to explain, there are in physical reality no such things as separate events. So then, remember also when I tried to work towards a definition of omnipotence. Omnipotence is not knowing how everything is done. It's just doing it. You don't have to translate it into language.
Yeah, Alan Watts had such a way. But we can't we can't skip over the fact that he does sound like the devil from the movie The Exorcist. Let's give that a play real quick.
Hello, Reagan. I'm a friend of your mother's. I'd like to help you.
You might loosen the straps, son.
I'm afraid you might hurt yourself, Reagan.
You are one with the universe.
Reagan.
I see.
I don't know if this is the right voice. The devil has a couple voices in this movie, so it might take me a second to find the right voice.
I'm Damien Karras.
And I'm the devil.
Ooh.
Now kindly undo these straps.
If you're the devil, why not make the straps disappear?
That's much too vulgar display of power, Karras.
Okay. Terrifying movie.
Blood of the new and everlasting covenant.
It would bring us together.
You and Reagan.
You and us.
God, well, they always add music to Alan Watts stuff. Can I just get a normal thing of Alan Watts talking?
People. And it came over us that we really didn't
Okay,
know
listen to
what
that
we ought
voice.
to say.
Now listen to the devil.
You really do, don't you agree?
Don't you agree?
Ego te absolvo.
Say. I mean, you can scream and create a state of panic, but that won't do any good.
Ooh, geez, Alan.
How long are you planning to stay?
Oh, this is almost like spooky synchronistic.
Rots and lies stinking in the earth. What's that?
Holy water.
You keep it away. It burns!
Oh, man. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. That's a beautiful thought. It's a beautiful thought. Let's go back to and see what Terrence McKenna has to say. Let him finish up this last couple seconds.
Say it is what it is, that it is maintained in existence by an act of rational apprehension. And it's only science which has taken this very weird approach and said, no, the world is somehow independent from the act of description. And this is not a situation where we have two separate points of view, both open-hearted and trying their best.
I don't know. Basically what I'm trying to say is telepathy is real. Technology is from a different dimension. It's slowly creeping into our dimension. It's forcing its way to materialize through being almost a parasitic type of possession. Technology is a spirit that is possessing the desires inside of humans and using our own energy to create it. It's like one of those little, what are those things called? I forget what it was. It's like that mushroom that gets inside of the body of some kind of insect, and then it just uses the insect to grow itself. Or there's some kind of little parasite that will go inside the body of like crickets or something like that. It'll get inside the brain of a cricket and start controlling the body of it, and then it'll make the cricket kill itself, or the grasshopper or something. What I'm trying to say, technology is an interdimensional parasite, and it's manifesting itself, and it's going to take over this entire world. It's going to eat this world, and it's going to be our fault. Well, it's not really our fault because it's, we're just kind of infected with this dimensional thing, but through transcendence and self-awareness, we can overcome this, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to start a new segment on the podcast called Stash Yo Past. This is where you guys, you listeners of A Place for Humans podcast, you guys write into aplaceforhumans@gmail.com and you leave a story, either through a video note or a audio note, and you let me know something you regret in life, so that so I can make some generalizations about it publicly, ultimately. But hopefully we can, hopefully it's healthy for you to release these kind of things. You don't have to tell me anything too crazy. It can be something silly. It can be the time you cheated on somebody. It can be the time you stole something that you shouldn't have stole. Or maybe you just, or maybe it is something serious and you just really need to tell it and you want to say it anonymously. Look at this as being a confessional. Like in church when they go into that little box and they hide themselves and they say, "Father, forgive me, for I have sinned." Look at it like that. You can even start it like that if it helps you. But okay, so we got one right here. And I'm going to keep it anonymous. We're going to make up names for the people that are talking. So this one is, his name rhymes with Wuhan, but I feel like I can't call him Wuhan. What are we going to call him? We'll just say that this is Brian Boitano. So Brian Boitano called in, and he is leaving us a little stash of past message about something he regrets. So let's get him on here. Brian?
I regret setting up partners besides one true God. According to the scriptures that I'm following,
Stumbled over that first part a little bit.
It is like the greatest sin a man can do. So what happened was that I picked up this mystical ancient divine book and I read it with an open heart. And what happened was that I ended up calling upon other deities, which I thought would help me get closer to the one true God. Thinking about it gives me immense distress, and I'm ashamed of it. I wish I would have perished right before doing that act.
Jeez,
and I still ask for forgiveness. I thought it was permissible at the time, but when I started exploring my own religion, I came to know that it is the greatest sin a man can do. It is greater than...
Sorry to pause you right there, but I don't mean to belittle your beliefs, but every single religion, the greatest sin you can do is to like believe another God. That's a common theme in nearly every religion.
Killing someone, it's greater than stealing or whatnot. All I can do now is ask for forgiveness, man. That's all I can do now.
Yeah, that's all any of us can do, and that's what this is about. It's about asking for forgiveness, and it's about forgiving ourselves. I'm not really sure what we're forgiving you. What just happened? Let's play that one more time.
I regret setting up partners besides one.
I regret sending a box.
Partners besides one true God.
I regret sending a box.
Partners besides
A bot.
According to the...
A bot? I regret sending a box to Poseidon, the one real true God.
That I'm following. Sending a partners besides one true
Okay,
God.
so he sent a box to Poseidon, the one true God.
I regret sending
a box to Poseidon,
true God.
one true
According to
God.
the scriptures that
According to
I'm
the scriptures
following,
that he's
it is
following.
like the greatest sin a man can do. So what happened was that I picked up this mystical ancient divine book and I read it with an open heart. And what happened was that I ended up calling upon other deities, which I thought would help me get closer to the one true God. Thinking about it gives me immense distress, and I'm ashamed of it. I wish I would have perished right before doing that act.
Jesus.
And I still ask for forgiveness. I thought it was permissible at the time, but when I started exploring my own religion, I came to know that it is the greatest sin a man can do. It is greater than killing someone. It's greater than stealing or whatnot. All I can do now.
I don't believe that you think it's greater than killing someone, because you didn't say that very confidently right there. I felt like you knew when you said that you knew that was not true. Yeah, sorry. I didn't. This is supposed to be. I don't know. Actually, I don't actually know what I'm supposed to do right here. Am I supposed to give advice? I don't want to make fun of anybody that sent in stuff. Okay. So, you sent a box to. You talked to other deities, and now you read your books and your own religion, and it said that it's really bad, and now you want to be forgiven. Yeah, just say a couple Hail Marys. Go maybe volunteer some time at some soup kitchens, or just donate some service to somebody that needs it, and maybe someone that really needs it though. Not just your buddy that wants you to help him move a couch or something, but maybe someone that really needs some help out there. And I imagine that whatever God you believe would understand your sincerity in this gesture. And yeah, good luck out there, Good luck out there. Don't be so hard on yourself. None of us know what's going on. We're all just trying to figure it out. Okay, this one is a response for your segment. Hope you can use it. Okay, so this one is...
Hey Dakota, my name's Brooke.
Okay, I was going to make up a name, but she set it up as if... I kind of figured she was going to say her name. Okay, Brooke. No sleep till Brooklyn.
Hey Dakota, my name's Brooke. First of all, I want to say
Shout out,
I
Brooke.
love your content and this podcast is great. So I guess what I have to share isn't one specific thing that I've done that I regret, but more of a general theme of life that I've brought upon myself. And that is, I regret taking myself too seriously and suppressing myself in my youth and even now for fear of judgment. Thus, not feeling like I belong because I don't let people get to know me authentically. I wondered if this is a selfish thing to regret, because it's not something that I've done purposefully, but I think I'm doing people a disservice by putting myself into the world like this, and it's something I constantly work on. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What'd you say? Just kidding. Oh, sorry. I just said that for comedy. Okay. Yeah, I feel like everyone does that. That's a total normal thing to go through life sort of unaware. You're not aware. You hurt people's feelings. The whole world kind of revolves around you, and you don't realize it because you're just in it. And then you kind of grow. You go through some heartache. You go through some changes, and you come out the other side more aware than you were, and you can kind of see yourself from an outside perspective. And I feel like we all do that, and that's good. It's a good thing. But the big part is that we have to be able to let go of those parts of ourselves and not overly identify with the past as if that's who we are. Because, just the fact that you can recognize, who you were, oh, man, I fucked up there. That means you changed. And, every day we're changing. Just like the seasons, just like the weather. Every day we change. We're never the same, There may be some absolute eternal hippie part of ourselves that someone's going to, so there's going to be a comment on here. Someone's actually, you don't ever change. You're a spiritual being having a human. No, okay, but on a human level, you change all the time. You're a spectrum of flow and energy and love and anger and all of it. You're a little whirlwind. That I'm going to hug like a harmless little tree. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. People take stuff so serious, and I definitely take stuff serious too. But it's easier when you're talking about someone else's life for you to be like, why do people take stuff so serious? It's harder when it's your own life. But, yeah, it's just nice to talk about stuff. I remember when I first started, I had some friends. I had a friend, Prahlad, and he had a girlfriend, and he was really into communication. He practiced communication. He'd read books about communication, and he shared it with me, as he was learning about all these different skills, and he would practice it. So, like, I lived in a van with him, his girlfriend, and my girlfriend at the time. Whenever there was any issues, we would have a group meeting. No matter how pissed off we were, no matter how, like, just fuck you, I don't want to talk to you right now, we would push through that and just talk. We would talk it out. Whenever I was fighting with my girlfriend about something, or whenever there was, like, you know, something, like, okay, for example, say, like, someone has their shoes, they kept leaving their shoes in the same spot, and, you know, it's like a reoccur, like, we keep stepping on it, we, like, you know, we told you a few times, and, you know, no, they keep putting their shoes there. So there'd be a group meeting saying, like, hey, we just come together as a group, we want to let you know that we don't like that we have to keep kicking and stepping and tripping all over your shoes that you keep leaving right here. This is just an example. And it seems so obvious, but no one does that. I've thought, like, I went through my whole life until I was like 23 before I did that. I mean, obviously there's been moments in my life where I've been like, hey, okay, we need to talk about this. But, like, as a common practice, that's the only time in my life when I was living with them where I was really doing it like that. And it trickles into my life now more because of how much I was doing it with them. And, so I found that being vulnerable and just talking and expressing yourself, even if you're wrong in the expression, just getting it out, saying it, saying your thoughts helps you collectivize what's going on in your head. Even writing it on paper, typing it in your phone, just getting it out of your head so that you can see it, it helps a lot. It helps releasing it. It helps you understand it. Helps you grow. And just all around in general, it's a great spiritual practice. Ooh, this one says, hope this is suitable. So I hope this one's bad. We'll do one more. We'll say this one is from, who do we have? We had Brian Boitano, Brooke. We'll go with another B. And Bobby Boucher.
Hey, Dakota.
Oh, it's a boy, too.
I'm Macarius, and
Macarius.
I'm a monstrous fan. But I am here seeking advice. I was wondering if you could tell me how you've personally dealt with the contempt that comes from deep betrayal. Like, to make it short, I was basically kicked around like a football by people who
jeez.
Yeah, I thought were my friends.
Are you a little guy?
And
I'm a little guy too. People didn't kick me around like a football, but I'm not like a buff guy or anything like that, so I resonate with that.
And one of them stole from me.
Ooh.
And no one cares.
Not cool.
And lots of personal attacks, etc.
Yep.
And I've just found myself quite consumed with contempt. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would say there are even worse betrayals.
Wait, what is contempt?
I feel that way as well, just with family.
Contempt.
And
the feeling that a
really
person or a thing is beneath consideration.
Being, very love focused, and I think, you know, you would argue, at least partially, that like it's a kind of new age bastardization, and realistically, it's like we should allow ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling, and if we're feeling contempt, then, you know, that's okay. But then it's really been making me miserable. So I was just wondering, especially since I know that you've dealt with betrayal from like a certain fish pooping in your pond, so to speak. So yeah, that's my question. And thank you so much, and much love to you, dude. I love what you're doing. It's so amazing. Thank you. You've really helped me in my life, just being you. So thanks. Bye bye.
Oh, that was nice. Thank you for that little, yeah. Thanks for thinking that I'm cool. Macarius, that was a cool message. Well, again, you know, for me, it's about like, well, for one, like, fuck those guys, because there comes a time where you need to recognize that hurt people hurt people. You know, I'm sure you've seen that floating around on Tumblr or Facebook, or, you know, it's like a thing a mom would post in like a little glittery text. Hurt people, but it's true that hurt people, and a lot of these times, like, it's just like a generational pain that's being passed down, you know? The grandpa was a dickhead to the dad was a dickhead to the son. Man, sorry if you guys hear that noise out there. And, yeah, then the son is now a dickhead to everyone he comes in contact with, and it's just kind of like, we really are, the way our psychology works is we really take on the identities that are not real. It's the perception that other people view us as. We take those identities on. Or the perception that of how we want to be perceived by others. We take that identity on, which has us in a constant battle with who we really are. And, yeah, you know, those guys got their own problems to deal with. They're clearly not happy if they're stealing and if they're being mean. You know, how a happy person sees a happy world. An angry person sees an angry world. So, you know, they're not happy if they're if the kind of things that they are engaging in are these kind of things. You know, these are escapes. And they're like outbreaks of behavioral disobedience. Sorry, that was a really weird way to put that. I just didn't know what to say. They're acting out, you know? They don't know who they are. They're confused in life, so they're acting out in this kind of way, which, you know, people like us are usually the ones that get the kind of shit end of the stick, because, I mean, I don't know you personally, but, like, you know, for me, I'm like a calm kind of guy. I'm not gonna like beat you up. So for like the big alpha guys that are just like meatheads, they like get off on kind of picking on people that aren't gonna do anything. Because why would you fuck with someone that's gonna, you know, punch you in your face? But sometimes punching someone in the face is the best thing you can do for them. So there's also that. It's a circumstantial thing, you know. You just gotta trust your intuition, and even if they beat you up, if you punch them once, they'll never mess with you again. That's something that I learned growing up. Yeah. Man, it's hard to talk just because I don't like to cut these podcasts, and I don't like to have any dead air. I know, like, a lot of people listening, you probably don't realize, but it's really hard to just talk for an hour straight by yourself. But we're doing it anyway, baby. We're doing it. We are doing it. I don't know exactly what we're doing, talking to ourselves, but we're doing it. What's trending on Twitter? Believers are going crazy for Justin's hair. That's one thing that's trending. Also, just his hair is trending. What else? The Fresh Prince house is available for rent on Airbnb. Paul Rudd asks fellow millennials to wear masks in a funny PSA. Oh, thanks, Paul Rudd. I do like Paul Rudd. It's so funny when people go, because people are mad. I just saw this thing. People are mad at Hagrid from Harry Potter for being like, you know, there's kind of, I noticed that there's a culture of a Twitter culture. I'll just Google it and see what he actually said. Hagrid said, I don't know why, but there's a whole Twitter generation of people who hang around waiting to be offended. And one of the top things is just a thought, maybe, because the thing is I think, I don't know what J.K. Rowling said about trans women. I think she said, like, they're not, like, a woman is a woman or something like that, you know, like one of those comments. And This guy said, just a thought, maybe the media should talk to trans women rather than Hagrid. And the media just, it always does that. Doesn't it? They always do that. They always go to like some just celebrity or just some random person. They amplify their voice as if they're like some spokesperson, but it's just to get clicks and controversy. It's, yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like, reminds me of this. Reminds me of that Dave Chappelle clip right here.
Yeah, man, they would. But I'm like, for real, why you care so much what the Dixie Chicks say? It's not like they political scientists and nothing. They just bitches, they can sing good. You know what I mean? Stop worshiping celebrities so much. Just don't listen, don't pay attention. I remember right around September 11th,
That's right now.
Rule was on MTV. That's what they said. We got Ja Rule on the phone. Let's see what Ja's thoughts are on this tragedy. Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this, nigga? This is ridiculous. I don't want to dance. I'm scared to death.
I don't want to dance.
I want some answers that Ja Rule might not have right now.
Dave Chappelle's the king.
You think when bad shit happens to me, I'll be in the crib like, oh my God, this is terrible. Could somebody please find Ja Rule, get hold of this motherfucker so I can make sense of all this. Where is Ja? Guide me, Ja Rule.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that. It's just so like, and let's be honest, there is a generation on Twitter that is constantly looking and seeking conflict. People nitpick the shit out of everything, just constantly seeking for conflict. People that agree with each other, they'll fight over the like the way that they said something. Like, I mean, Hagrid can't say that. He can't just say that, you know, I think that, well, there seems to be people on Twitter that, you know, seem to just kind of, or just want to be offended. I don't even know if he mentions anything specific other than just saying that. Oh, also, Trump said that he would do a 4-hour debate with Biden with Joe Rogan as the moderator. I thought that was hilarious, and I wish that would happen. What were we talking about before that? Sorry, I was looking at my Twitter, and that came up. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even remember what we were talking about. We're talking about... who gives a shit what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this? Oh yeah, what Hagrid said. Well, let's see what some of the people are saying. Let's just look and see if Twitter is being objective and saying like, oh, you know, maybe Hagrid's not the right person to be talking about transgender activism. You know, maybe the media shouldn't be amplifying his voice, which is just causing conflict, but we should, you know, be giving a voice to people that can help educate instead. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Let's see, are people saying that? Or are people just saying, like, I wish Hagrid would die? Someone said, who had Hagrid is a boomer who is fixated on war on their bingo card? Oh, because he said, I don't know why, but there's a whole generation of people who hang around on Twitter waiting to be offended. They wouldn't have won the war, would they? I don't know what war he's talking about. He's talking about that war that they fought in Deathly Hallows. I don't know if any, you know, I don't even think Hagrid, you died, Hagrid. You didn't win the war either. Hagrid. Hagrid. Someone said Hagrid is dead to me. Your generation didn't win the war either, did they, Robbie? Also, stop being a transphobic fuckwit. Cheers, Hagrid, mate. Oh, what he said is, I don't think what she said was really offensive. What did J.K. Rowling even say? What did J.K. Rowling say about Transgender. A complete breakdown of J.K. Rowling's transgender comments controversy. Okay, J.K. Rowling, people who menstruate. I'm sure there used to be a word for that. Oh, wait, what? She has people who menstruate in like air quotes, or not air quotes, but actual quotes. And she said, I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Woombid, Wimpund, Woomud. So I think that's the first one. That's the initial tweet that gained a lot of backlash, this thing says. It said Rowling did not relent and wrote more about her views in detail. She said, if sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know, and I love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. The idea that women like me who've been empathetic to trans people for decades feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e. to male violence, hate, trans people because they think sex is real, and hate trans people. Okay, so she's saying, for a fucking author, you have terrible grammar. To male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has lived consequences is nonsense. That's still confusing to read. I respect every trans person to live any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on a basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it's hateful to say so. I've never felt as shouted down, ignored, and targeted as a lesbian within our supposedly GLBT community. I thought it was LGBT. I guess it don't really matter, but she said GLBT. I guess it doesn't matter. Community as I have been in the past years. Oh, and that's just her. That's her posting something. But I don't get what she said there that was offensive to trans people. Oh man, I can't even. I feel like that's the thing. We can't have a normal conversation anymore. I feel like I can't even say that. People are gonna be mad at me for saying that. And I'm sure maybe I'm missing the story because people are really mad at her. And I'm not like educated in this kind of stuff, so I don't really know like what's exactly is bad about her saying. She said like she feels empathetic to trans people, and that she's felt that way for decades, a kinship, because they're vulnerable in the same way that women are vulnerable. You know, that they can become they have this stigma of hate and stereotypes, and they're prone to male violence. And I would say even trans women are extra prone to those kind of things. But it's not a competition, so I think that's where people get a little angry, is that like maybe a trans, well, I don't want to generalize and say what people are thinking, because I don't know what people are thinking. And she says, I respect every trans person's right to live, and any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you. And people are still mad at her. I feel like that's very clear. Someone says, since J.K. Rowling has blocked any reply to this, she says she's at half-truths and transphobic dog whistles. It is something that J.K. Rowling made this spectacle of transphobic bigotry under the guise of feminism when we're fighting for Black Lives Matter. Oh man, there's just so much. Can't we just all get along? Why does it have to be a competition of... They're all equally important things, which is what it is, but the way she keeps repeating herself without reading the room, my goodness. I mean, I've personally seen people... Like, I have a pretty big Twitter following. I have like 150,000 followers or something. Something like that. 136,000. I'm losing followers, it appears. But I've like had people get mad at me just for like really weird things. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I don't know. Who gives a shit? I don't even know why I'm talking about this. It literally doesn't matter to me in my life. Let's see what else. We got anything else to talk about today? Oh my God, the alien life thing on Venus. Life on Venus? Astronomers see phosphine signal in its clouds. This is posted all this is world news everywhere. I actually invited the lady on my podcast that led the team of physicists, the astrophysicists that but got no response. But anyways, Jay Greaves, she's the astrobiologist. She led this thing. That's her Twitter name, Jay Greaves. I'm sure she's a doctor, Dr. Greaves. But anyways, they found something on Jupiter. Oh shit, on Venus, I mean. Fuck. Okay, what'd they find? The detection of gas in the planet's atmosphere could turn scientists' gaze to the planet's overlooked and search for extraterrestrial life. Oh my God, I can't read today. High in the toxic atmosphere of the planet Venus, astronomers on Earth have discovered signs of what might be life. If the discovery is confirmed by additional telescope observation and future space missions, it could turn the gaze of scientists towards one of the brightest objects in the night sky. Venus, named after the Roman goddess of beauty, roasts at temperatures of hundreds of degrees and is cloaked by clouds that contain droplets of corrosive sulfuric acid. Few have focused on the rocky planet as a habitat for something living. Oh, I didn't even know it was a solid planet. I mean, I guess I do now by looking at it. Jupiter's the gas planet, right? I'm embarrassed. Someone's going to make fun of me in the comments for not knowing that. This is astonishing and out of the blue finding. Some research. Okay, so basically there's a gas in the atmosphere that on Earth is only created by intelligent life. We create, what kind of gas is it again? Phosphine? Phosphine. Oh, okay, sorry. That's wrong. Scientists say they detected a gas in the clouds of Venus that on Earth is produced by microbial life. So this gas is only detected by microbial life. So it's only detected by life. It's only made by life. The researchers have racked their brains trying to understand why this toxic gas phosphine is there in such a quantities, but they can't think of any geologic or chemical explanation. Oh, 2020, baby. I love 2020. I don't care what anyone says. This is a fun, wild year. And we're all probably going to die. So, whatever. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching the podcast. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Please head over to Apple Podcasts. Leave us a positive review over there. We're called A Place for Humans. And what else? Anything special I got to announce? Going to Mexico pretty soon. Anything else? That's pretty much it. This is the podcast. Thanks for watching. I love ya. A Place for Humans podcast. Catch you guys around next time. Do 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 do.